Well, apparently Uncle Derek didn't like this one, so if it ain't good enough for the former happy video game nerd, is there any chance at all? But then again, I prefer my skeletons to fight forever, so I don't know, maybe. And so it comes to this. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers 2 released in 1994 for the Nintendo Entertainment System and the last of the Capcom Disney offerings to grace the venerable NES, as focus would move on to the Super Nintendo, which was the current hotness at the time. Or at least one of several. Much like DuckTales 2, this also fetches for a high price on the secondary market, so the cheaper alternative, as of this recording at least, is the Disney Afternoon Collection that's available for Steam and Switch. Switch version also containing 2 extra games that we're not touching because I don't have that because I'm playing this off Steam, but they're on the Antstream service if you have a subscription to that, which also has Squirrel King. Oh yeah, those Brits know the real deal here. So Rescue Rangers 2 ditches the map screen of the previous game and now progresses in a much more linear fashion. At least until you get to the amusement park, at which point you get to tackle 3 of those stages in any order you wish before moving on to the final confrontation, but there's more of an ongoing narrative that happens throughout the game with its intermissions pushing the story forward. Something about a mysterious urn and Fat Cat getting out of jail because otherwise we'd have no sequel, the Rescue Rangers would be out of a job, and all they'd have to look forward to is a largely mediocre remake almost 30 years later. But I digress. Beyond the change in progression though, it's the same deal as the first game. Choose to play as either Chip or Dale or both if you have a second player on hand, though expect a bit of slowdown in the 2-player mode this time around, which wasn't readily apparent the first time. Oh well. Anyway, like before, you're going along a set path, still no backtracking. You pick up crates or boxes or whatever, you throw them at enemies. Crates will sometimes hide items such as acorns for health or stars for 1-ups. Replacing the flower cards of the previous game are Ranger plaques, which after collecting a number of them will earn you a Ranger badge, which after earning a number of those will net you an extra heart to your health meter and let you take an extra hit, which is awfully nice. There are other items to pick up, stacking bolts and other things. There are switches to manipulate by tossing an item their way, which manipulates the stage a bit. Each stage usually ends with a boss fight, though sometimes not, but then after that you have a bonus game where you toss a thing up in hopes of hitting a prize, either a 1-up or a 2-up or a 0-up. Honestly, if there's anything to be said about Rescue Rangers 2, it's that it's simply more Chip 'n Dale on NES. And if you've played that game, you already know what to expect, and sure enough, it's pretty much the same deal minus a couple key things. Which means that your enjoyment of this sequel is largely dependent on whether you enjoyed the first Rescue Rangers game enough that you're willing to go for seconds. Now, I will praise the game for at least making the boss fights a bit more inventive rather than just having you toss red matter into someone's face, but that's the only real improvement this game has over its predecessor. The additional story bits are nice to have, but that's about it really. And don't get me wrong, it still plays well enough, it controls fine, it's still a nice, easy enough pick up and play affair, but Rescue Rangers 2 falls into that Mega Man trap of business as usual, been there, done that. Except that here it's more obvious since the only new things are the levels, the cutscenes, and the font. They changed the font to a less blocky one, that's something I guess. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, Rescue Rangers 2 retains the same graphical stylings of the previous game, and even some sprite work has been retained. Still a fine looking game with the new stuff looking decent enough, but again, it's not going to break any new ground. A lot have been there, done that. And once again, we've got another solid banging collection of chiptunes on the Rescue Rangers front. Though I gotta admit, wasn't too keen on the early stage themes because they sounded a little weaker, I felt. But clearly, they saved the really good stuff for the back end, and I enjoyed those tunes more, so disaster diverted. Overall, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers 2 on NES is more of the same. Not necessarily a bad thing, Capcom made a living making more of the same. But in the case of Rescue Rangers 2, it really is just more of the same, and if you didn't care for the first game, there's virtually nothing here that's going to change your mind. But if you did enjoy the first game, there's more of that, and that's all there is, really. All that said, Rescue Rangers 2 is a more than adequate follow-up that I largely enjoyed, but not one that you should spend an arm or a leg or a second mortgage on. At the moment, Disney Afternoon is your best bet in giving this and the other games we've sampled this week a fair shake, And when that's eventually no longer an option, there's always AliExpress. Yar.